Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm a little anxious because this is my first time speaking when people have coffees in their hands and not alcohol. So I know you guys are really focused and caffeine's going to kick in any time. All right, I can't even ask like one more round of drinks. That's not going to go well for me. Thank you, Mark, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about patterns. Uh, let's see. All right, so I'll be talking about patterns in the sense of digital deja vu, which I always feel when I see something as like, I've seen this before. To me, the context of pattern is this is reappearing again and again. That's what I'm going to talk about. I'll talk about in the context of cybersecurity. There'll be brief mention of AI because that's a buzzword. I not why not? Maybe that will get me more stories. With that, why am I here? So it all started with a curious mind. I was 16 years old, sitting in my classroom, and my teacher said, "Hey, I can see some of you guys have finished your assignments, some are yet to do. Keep on doing. And the ones who have finished them, some of them are not correct. So while you have time to submit, 15 minutes left, please review your assignments once more." Simple statement, very simple. People like, cool, we'll just review our assignment. And I was sitting there, still not finished the test. It's like, how does he know? He is sitting where you are, so around 3 meters far. How does he know that who of us have finished it and who have not? And some of them are wrong answers. He has not even come to my desk. And I was like, something he knows which I don't. And that was my excuse to go down the rabbit hole to see that how is he able to tell all these things. And with that, I asked him, I was like, how do you know? He's like, oh, come on, we are all in a network. I am connected with all of you. And my brain was like, so Mr. A is connected to Mr. B, Mr. C, the curious me, Mr. D. So I think C is connected to B and C is connected to D as well. There should be a way to look into each of these computers if he can see all of us. And that's where I started tinkering for whatever time was left. And voila, I got access to both my peers. They were not good. That's why I failed the test. But that's their fault, not mine. And I just said, like, wow, I can see their systems and this system. And they're like, teacher was actually, did you just hack? I was like, what does hack mean? Sorry, what? What does hack mean? I was just curious. I followed a rabbit hole and just started looking. It's like, no, you hacked. That's a cheating. That's a bad thing. I was like, my intentions were not bad. I was just curious. And that's all I knew about hacking when I started it. This is 16-year-old me, nearly 41, 42 now. So I've been in this field for 25 years or plus, doing professional hacking on the offensive side, as well as sometimes on the defensive side. So I know how hackers work. I know how big companies try to defend all the big names you know of. And that's what I'll share with you in the rest of the slides. All right, since morning, how many of us have touched any device which is digital and connected to internet? I'll really freak out if somebody says no. How did you even manage to come here? All right, so with that, I think we always interact with our digital twin, I call that. So that's my digital identity. And that's the identity wherein it's helping me share photos, talk to my bank, even find love. Any one of you have got all these four, bingo. Shop online, banks online, share photos, and found love online. Not bad. Me too. On my love online. And I felt vulnerable. Yeah, it was finding love online. I was like, oh, I'm exposing too much, I'm exposing too less. Is my photo correct? Is it too bright, too dark? That was my digital identity. And that's how it started, wherein I started getting more and more involved into how people are sharing their digital identities, what they are sharing, why they are sharing, are they even aware of what they are sharing, and who can look into that. That was my pretty much entry into this digital world. Now, one question I get asked is, who is attacking us? Who are these people? Who are these bots? Who are these spammers? Who are these companies? Who are these governments? And the answer to that is a little complicated because we have to understand everybody is a target, but for a different reason, may not be the same reason. And who is targeting you depends what they want from you. So we talk about a pyramid. So at the bottom, script kiddies, which means these are the people, kids usually, who go online, download the best malware available. Like, hey, let me download this software. Let me download this keylogger. Put it on my girlfriend's system. Put it on my boyfriend's system because I want to know what they are doing. Curious mind. I started as a script kiddie. I did not have experience in hacking. I got to know, started downloading malicious stuff, trying to see what's happening inside. So definitely, I would say 90% of the people would start at script kiddies, but they are low-level hackers. They will either go for fame, hey, I hacked Facebook, yay, but that's it. They will not be that quote-unquote smart or malicious for the bigger impact. The moment they get hold of any golden nugget, they will just go and announce it. The second layer is the criminals. The criminals are the people who have malicious intent, but they do not have massive resources. They are not the ones who have millions of dollars available. They do not have very organized groups. They have just a malintention. So they will still hack something, but now they want money. They'll try to maybe even blackmail. So those are criminals. Then you have the crime groups. They are the ones who are organized groups. They will usually not hack me or you as an individual. They might be interested through you in your company because they have to do investments. Similar to ROI, as most of the people will know, return on investment. They will say, why should I hack somebody? And later that person says, I have no money. And I wasted my tool, my effort, my time. So they usually go for bigger companies or at least small and medium enterprises. And the last one, before we go to the nation actors, is the mercenaries. They are the ones who have a singular mission. They can go like, we do not like what is happening in this part of the world. Let's assemble together. So they're kind of bad Avengers. So they're like, yeah, let's assemble and fight them. And that's where they are very organized. They have a single mission, which may or may not be money, by the way. Sometimes they go because they believe in something. And that's where they start bringing the websites down. They start attacking those companies who are against that belief. And on top are the nation state actors, which I will not talk much about for the obvious reasons. They know everything and they have all the resources. They are not for your money. I mean, they have money. They are sponsored by nations. They are sponsored by states. So what they are interested is political impacts of something. And that's what you hear in most of the headlines, misinformation for elections in some country, or they are not happy with how the war situation is being played. So they are the ones who are nation state actors, except one. If somebody can guess which kind of nation state actor would be interested in money. That's what you said. I did not. Neither I can confirm nor deny. All right. It's being recorded. All right. So yes, there are some nation state actors who are, of course, interested in the money part of it. So this is the whole spectrum. This is the pyramid, which when you think of attack, always think of who is attacking, and you will kind of feel that why they are interested in me. All right, cost of cybercrime. Cybercrime is exponentially rising. The cost of cybercrime is getting multi-folds year on year. And the reason for that is two-faced. One is, of course, everybody has more money. So more money to spend, more money to steal. Second is most of the societies are getting more digitized. The more digital you become, the more prone to hacking, and especially when you're starting your digital journey. So I was talking to a client some time back, and they said, you know what, we are moving into digital world. We used to have papers and analog. We are moving. And once you are moving, the first investment is not security. You never say, you know what, let me digitize these things and also hire a security consultant on day one. They always think, and security is a second thought, an afterthought. And what is my chance of getting attacked versus I start paying somebody on day one? I was talking to a guy who runs a web development company, 100 plus people, and asked the same question. I hope he's not here. All right, I asked the same question. He was like, yes, I'm ready to accept that risk because if I pay a security consultant over years, it's going to cost me this much. Versus if the hack happens, yeah, it's going to cost me this much. So that is less than me paying to the security consultant. Which is fair. That's his call, but it's going to cost reputation loss. Nobody will come to that person to build more websites. And that is something you cannot quantify in numbers. Once you go public of like this website designer got hacked, all the websites got hacked. So cost of cybercrime is now rising to 6 trillion. This is, I think, 2021-22 data. GDP of Japan is, I think, 4.5 to $5 trillion. So it's more than the GDP of Japan, and it's projected to go up to 20 trillion by the end of this decade, which is a massive number for just cybercrime. Now, the next one we're going to talk about how can we detect, or why can't we even detect this? Why this is all happening? We have the best of the tools. Why? Why these patterns are going missed? That's going to be one of the most technical slides for today, and then we go downhill. That's going to be a smooth ride. So this is the slide which needs caffeine, right? So let's get ready for that. Why can't we detect? All right, I'll give analogies. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So let's start at the bottom. Hash values. Consider Mark runs a bank. I am an attacker. I go to Mark with my check, and I'm not as charismatic as Leonardo, but I sign, give it to him. He checks the signature. He's like, yeah, that's a good signature. Here's the money. But if there's a little bit deviation in that signature, in the Rishi, the I is 20% left, 10% right. It's like, nah, it's not right. So he will exactly check the signature. Is that a good idea? No. Because once you write, there will be a little bit deviation. You cannot exactly check with a ruler that I has to be here, S has to be there. There has to be a gut feeling, and that's where signatures are easy, but they fail drastically because you cannot signature every software. A little change and the signature will change. So this is very trivial, but would not help in detection. Second is IP addresses. Anybody from technical background, a little bit technical background would know that, but simpler terms, IP address is your registration plate of the car. Yes, I can see if Mark sees that, hey, she's coming in that car, and that car in the past we have seen has been used in attacks. Fine, but I can change my car. I can go to Eurocar or Avis and get a new lease car and drive into the bank. So easy to change. Then comes domain names. Domain name is similar to the building name where you live. So I know there's Island Crest here, there's Soho 189. If Mark knows, hey, somebody coming from Island Crest is an attacker, yes, he may be able to detect, but that's also unfair. What about the 200 other residents coming from the same building? They're not attackers. So it's easy, but it's not the best way to detect because you will block other people as well. The top three ones, which are the critical ones, the host and network artifacts. Artifacts is something like if I walk into a bank, he knows the color of suit I'm wearing, where I'm coming for. So there are multiple indicators within me that he can judge that this person is an attacker. So it's very, very good as compared to the rest, but still not enough because again, another person can wear the same suit. Chances are less, but it can happen. So it's annoying to first keep a database of all that, what everybody is wearing, what they're carrying, a suitcase, a briefcase, this, and whether they are attackers or not. Top two, tools. What if somebody walks into a bank with a hammer? Is that person 100% an attacker? Chances, but still not sure. But that's a good way. Or somebody walks into a bank with a gun. Yes, but maybe not in America. You can. So it depends in more context. It depends again that why they are carrying those tools. So this is getting better and better, but not the best. And the best is on the top, which is one of the most difficult ways, but the best ways to detect an attacker is TTP. TTP stands for tactic, technique, and procedure. It's a mix of these three. And tactic, in simpler terms, is what is my intention coming to Mark? My intention is I have to come to him to withdraw some money, but I don't even have an account. So my intention cannot be withdrawing money to steal something. The other T is technique. What techniques I'm using? I'm carrying tools, I'm carrying this. So it's a mix of multiple things. And procedure is I took a backdoor entry into the bank. Why not front door entry? So once you relate all these three things, that's where TTPs become your best way to detect an attacker and find those patterns. So this is pretty much what IT teams and security teams go through. So if in your company you have a dedicated IT team or security team, please empathize with them. It's not an easy task. Buy them a coffee, they really need it, or a Red Bull, whatever their poison is. But this is what happens every single hour of their life. Attackers are doing, and they're trying to identify in this pyramid what to detect and how to detect. All right, links in the chain. We are all links in a massive cybersecurity world, or let's say digital world. It all starts with who we are. So if I have to attack you, I'll try to understand who are you, where do you work, what's your email address, where do you live, everything I can know about this person before I even attack. Then I will do the first attack. And first attack is never the last, never for the mission. They will never come that, hey, I'm attacking you because first attack, I got everything. They come because I want an entry into the house. And then I will see where your safe is. Then I will see how many rooms you have in the house. Then I will see what's the lock code of the safe. But first, I have to enter into your house. So reconnaissance is the first one, initial foothold or initial attack. Second, then identifying inside your house how many rooms and everything. Third, finally, let's attack the safe and steal the money. This chain happens with the top attacks you are seeing in the headlines. Every single attack in the world, including what we do, also follows this chain. Because if you break this chain, you will get detected. And this is where the responsibility lies with us. You want to be a good digital citizen, break this chain. You may not be the target, but you are, I can guarantee you, you're part of this chain. And if you break the chain, you can lower this impact. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Okay. So anybody know about this $1 billion heist? Cool, it's going to be fun. All right, $1 billion attempted heist. I will try to be fast on that. That's a lot of money to go within 2 minutes. Let me try my best. 35 suspicious transactions totaling to $1 billion from Bangladesh Bank. This happened in 2016. So let me take you on a journey, quick journey of like a James Bond movie or Ocean's 11 or whatever you want to call it. 2015, 4 accounts were opened in Philippines. $500 deposited, nothing happened. Dormant after that. 2016, January, an employee receives a Bangladesh bank an email with a suspicious link. He did not know. He was part of the chain, clicked on that link, and his system was infected. That was January 2016. February 2016, one fine day, attackers were like, you know what, today's Thursday, I will attack. And the reason for that is in Bangladesh, like in any Muslim majority country, the weekends are Friday and Saturday, not Saturday, Sunday. So they started attack on Thursday night. Started that attack Friday, Saturday, no bank employees in office. Post that, they started these 35 suspicious transactions from the bank terminal because they had access into the bank. Send a message to New York Reserve because Bangladesh bank accounts are held in New York. They said, move $20-30 million per transaction to all these locations around the world. New York was like, cool, it's coming from bank, it's valid. As an employee, somebody is asking, we'll move it. And they started moving the money. But within 5 transactions, they realized, and this is, I would say, a pattern within the email which they received, was move the money and our address is Jupiter Street, which is a fine address, no problems. But the coincidence was Jupiter was a blacklisted company in New York database, not related to this hack. This is a street address, not a company name. But just Jupiter triggered that. And the moment it triggered, they said, hold on. Let's hold these 30 transactions. 5 have gone, let's hold these 30. So those 30 transactions were held. They contacted the bank. It was a Holiday Inn bank. Nobody picked the call. Like, okay, fine, we'll not let it through. But the 5 have gone through. Out of those 5, 1 reached Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan bank employee realized why an NGO who recently opened is getting $20 million from New York. Human element. Think of an AI or a tool who's like, yeah, this is a valid transaction coming from New York to this, I will allow it. But humans like, why NGO? 20 million is a massive chunk for Sri Lanka. So like, hold on, I want to verify that. So it sent the routing back to one of the routing banks in Europe. And they said, can you please verify, is this correct number? It's a massive number. They checked and they realized there was a spelling error in that message. It was some S foundation. Instead of foundation, they put foundation. And said, no, we are canceling that. So bad luck for hackers, good luck for the good people. That error in the spelling mistake again saved 1 transaction. Now the next 4 transactions actually went all the way to the Philippines bank. 20 million, 4 transactions, around 80 million. Now the Bangladesh bank employees came back on Sunday. Their printer was not working. It's like, shit, why printer is not working? What is going on? Turns out attackers disabled the printer so that the account statements do not get printed. They get more time. And by the time printer was fixed, they called the Philippine bank on Sunday. It's a holiday. They called on Monday. It's a public holiday in Philippines. So everything was planned. The printer, the choice of days, how they're going to route the money. Finally, $80 million were lost. That money got credited. That money was later laundered to our neighbors, Macau. And from Macau, it went to where it was supposed to. So $1 billion heist could have been successful if those patterns were not noticed. That why that much money is going, a spelling error is there, and yes, there's a little bit suspicion. So those patterns, all employees in New York and in Sri Lanka noticed it, and that's why the $1 billion were saved, which is close to 5% or maybe 10% of Bangladesh GDP. So that was a massive heist attempt. Do we have 30 seconds?
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Cool. I was like, I remember everything. All right, 2 more stories because there are a lot of patterns here, especially the second one. Anybody knows of SolarWinds hack? Cool. SolarWinds hack happened in 2019, 2020. Same, very well planned. And this is one of the ways you will see how we are all connected, but we are not directly the targets. SolarWinds is a company which supplies software to other companies, 20,000 users globally. Now imagine if most of you probably are designers here, anybody using Adobe Photoshop, what if there is a backdoor or an attacker code in Adobe Photoshop? Everybody will install it, no antivirus will detect it. You are not the target, but everybody here will install, and attackers will have access to every one of your computers. So they never attacked you. They attacked one of the node in that supply chain. So whenever you think of supply chain, think of how you are installing hundreds of software on your mobile phones, on your laptops. Those software, even if coming from legitimate companies, can have malware in it. Because attackers will target that company. and put that code inside. And that's exactly what happened. SolarWinds hack happened. This was detected. Turns out to be because of this, 18,000 other customers were infected who were not even the targets, and attackers were able to do massive damages on all those big corporations because they were using the software of SolarWinds. And that's very difficult to detect. That's where the TTPs come in. That when you install something and you see suspicious things going on in your system, it should take more memory. Suddenly your system becomes slow. Why? Till yesterday it was fine, and today the whole RAM, the whole usage is through the roof. Those are the indicators wherein you can say, yes, I can see the pattern. I remember that anything goes into an anomaly word, I have to let my IT teams know, or I have to check what's going on in my system. So those are the patterns that help you identify. Otherwise, reliance only on your antivirus software, only on your IT team is not enough, because they are sometimes running blind. They do not know your Adobe Photoshop is infected. It's a trusted party. So you keep an eye on what is happening on your system, and with that, you will have a better understanding of everything. I think I'll just close that with cybersecurity begins with us. I think this slide says everything. We have to recognize those online patterns. Most of the phishing emails, which I do, so we do run hacking teams, every time we create a need of urgency, I'll send an email to you and saying that, hey, today your password is expiring. Change it now, 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 now. That's a red flag. Anytime you see urgency is somebody wants you to act on it without thinking. That's the common pattern, which I think 70% of emails we send, we do that, and people still fall to. Especially in your companies. Today is the last day for your compliance training. You'll be fired. Okay, I'll immediately go for the training, because that's the urgency we want you to act on. Or anything which has to do with money, always be suspicious. Last year, I think in Hong Kong, this AI fraud happened with the misinformation and deepfake. Yes, millions of dollars, somebody's asking you to move, looks like your CFO, sitting in a Zoom call. Doesn't hurt you to pick your phone and say, hey, was it you? Just ask one question, and that can save you that. And I can guarantee you, none of the CFO will be like, are you stupid? Why are you asking me again? Because they like it. They're like, you are validating that. So urgency is a very, very common pattern you can look for. Or big transactions, or anomalies in your system, in your handheld device. My iOS suddenly is very slow today. My Android phone is very slow today. What's happening? Do get that checked. And the last but not the least, whenever you hold a digital asset in your hand, with great power comes massive responsibility. Stay alert, not alarmed. I'm not here to create any paranoia. I'm not saying we are all getting hacked today. Let's open the bar. No, just stay alert. All right. And with that, in the whole deck, there were some Easter eggs. Anybody notice that? Anybody notice a pattern going on in my deck? All right. Let me go through that. It's just you and me against cybercrime. We link attack attempts in stories into security patterns with us. And finally, all the advanced attacks in cybersecurity are pointing you to staying alert. These are the table of contents. Thank you.
Are there any questions? We have some time left for some questions. I'm going to give you the microphone so everyone can hear it. Here you go. Introduce yourself quickly and then ask your question.
Hi, thank you very much. Hi, my name's Dan. Thank you so
Hey,
much
Dan.
for giving the talk. It's really interesting. I just have a question. I wasn't aware of the SolarWinds case. You mentioned like the damage that can happen from this and the reputational damage. What actually happened to SolarWinds when that happened? How much business did they lose? What was the damage of that?
That was a massive damage. It was a front page news, definitely a reputational issue, but also to a point that they said, yes, we were hacked as any other bank or a company. Most of the security industry people understand that you cannot always run away from hacks. They will happen. It's a sad statement. But the impact of it, and that was one of the first supply chain hacks that came into the news. And the reason I know that very well, because my company is the one who found it. So I used to work for Mandiant, which got acquired by Google. So Mandiant was the only company who could identify this attack was going on. Nobody else in the world knew. So with that, when we informed the vendor, they did all the investigations. Now the impact was brand reputation massive. But that being said, we also understand, we also empathize. So if today bank gets hacked, like, yes, we empathize. So you will be liable, you will pay for the damages. That being said, we also know this happens. So the supply chain vector itself, that was new to the world. So then the word got awake, like, whoa, so you will not attack me, but you will attack the software vendors I'm installing the softwares of. And then there were multiple supply chain hacks, which were even bigger than that. But that was the first one that made headlines. Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.